Hiya, and welcome back to Wayfinder. The game that teaches us that emotional damage is normal in an FVN. Yeah. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I know you want to know more about her, kid. That's what this whole trip is about. I'm taking you to meet someone special, someone who knew your mother and has known me for a long time. A teenage boy sulked in the passenger seat of his father's car, arms crossed and pouting, staring out the window which was rolled up to fend off the light rain of the cool autumn evening. Right now, he wished it weren't so rainy, so the wind could whip at his ear and dull the sound of his father's voice. The boy sighed, also wishing he hadn't asked why his father had decided the 17th anniversary of his mother's death, and the boy's own birthday at that, was a great time to visit an old friend. I don't know, I like the title music. The title music slaps on a completely different level. The two were on their way back from a camping trip in the mountains, which the boy's father had given practically no warning of. They had been traveling up the winding roads when the boy asked about his father's reason for going camping in the first place. He regretted asking, not that it would have changed much. Now, here they were. Hiya. Wait. Now, here they were, on their way to meet one of his dad's old friends. The teenager's eyes now focused on the treetops, which had begun to slowly lower the further the car drove. The trees guided his vision down more and more as they went, until finally coming to a small lake in a clearing. Forgetting about what he said and about what he and his father had been discussing, the boy sat up in his seat, smiling. He'd spotted a way out of talking with his father about his mother again for just a little bit. Hey, what about that? He pointed at the small pond, and the deer stopping for a drink on the other side. An opportunity. That's perfect! Let me just pull over. The car was carefully parked in the small clearing just off the road. The boy put on his rain poncho, stepped out of the car, and started down the gentle slope, past the edge of the trees and toward the water. He moved a hand over his forehead to push the medium-length blonde hair out of his pale green eyes, and started to breathe slowly, whispering, "Dad, I'm going to take the shot!" The boy's father smiled and nodded to his son, who slowly moved forward toward the edge of the water, readying to take aim. As the teen raised the sight just under his eye steadily, a bead of sweat trickled down his forehead. This could be his best one yet. This was as close as he was going to get, and he didn't want to make any sudden movements. He stared into the scope, positioned the crosshair to the neck of the deer, and took the shot. Nice! He shouted out in joy, and the startled buck ran off. The teen scanned the picture on the screen of his digital camera. You got the shot, I see. Ready to go now, kid? I don't want to keep my friend waiting. The teen smiled at how easy this had been dragged out. Since his father wouldn't let him drive, the boy instead begged his father to let him handle the camera and take photos on this trip. He had claimed it would be practice for his dream job as a photojournalist. It was half true, after all. Mostly it was an excuse to get his father to stop the car whenever the teen got sick of dealing with him. It wasn't that he hated his father, but having to deal with him at school as a teacher and at home as a parent got tiring after the first 2 years. Right, hey, one last photo, okay? The boy's father shook his head in protest, but all that followed was a whine and an attempt for the teen to get his way. Please? Oh, alright, kid. Make it fast. I think my poncho has a hole in it. Dad? The rain stopped like 2 minutes ago. His father looked up in shock, placing his hands on his hips. Oh yeah, look at that. The teen smiled, thinking about what photo he could take. He was walking forward a few steps and felt a soft breeze touch his face. The night's cool, mountainous air settling in around them. The sky was beginning to darken. Were they spending the night at his father's friend's house? The teen figured he might as well get a good photo of his father, and motioned for him to come closer. "Hey, Dad, come stand by the pond, okay?" The teen's father did as asked, allowing the boy to take in just how small of a frame his father had. He looked younger than most men his age, of which the boy was not actually sure, not even sporting the crow's feet his colleagues all seemed to have. He had olive green eyes, with bright blonde hair cut short and a beard of stubble that had just been groomed in the car no more than 2 hours ago. The father was of average height. The teen was already just as tall, but had a lean build. If they stood side by side, one would mistake them for brothers. The teen suddenly wanted to be in the photo with his father, realizing the two hadn't taken any together. He put a finger up to let his father know to wait. Setting the timer to 1 minute, the teen hurriedly moved to the truck. Opening the trunk and pulling out the tripod, the teen ran back. He placed the camera on the tripod and pointed it toward his father, again rushing over to stand in position. The two stood there, surrounded by trees and water on either side. Just 30 feet from the two, the car sat next to the road leading to the mountain. 20 feet away, something rustled in the trees. 10 feet away, the camera flashed, capturing the last photo Damien would ever have of his father. Chapter 7. Walking. Hey, yo! I find myself gliding through a sea of stars. No, not just myself. Arkin is with me, too. He's holding me tight as he sleeps, the two of us soaring beyond the limits of what any human has dared to dream. Or, at least, beyond what we've done on our own. I dare not wake him for fear of losing our way to his world, but I gently place my hand on his muzzle as he snores softly. So, this is the space between our worlds, huh? It just looks like, well, space. Guess I should have figured. I rest my head against my companion's chest. Of course I would wake up in the middle of this. I sigh. Nothing for it now, I suppose. I can just try to sleep again. Wait, what is that? I like it. And amethyst. This is directly for your idea, let me just... Oh yeah, I forgot. Now I don't want to remix the song. Oh, there it is. Just... see how it looks. Woo! Hell yeah! Is it going to stay like that, though? Probably not. I'll probably change it back as soon as stream is over. hear a gentle hum from behind me, then above me, then in my left ear. It circles me, yet never reveals itself to my eyes. I don't know if I should awake or even aware of, if I should be awake or even aware of this thing. What I've been through recently would suggest otherwise. If I reveal I know it's there, would it hurt us? Maybe I should just try to sleep again. I close my eyes and push my head against Arkan's chest more. I am aware of your awareness, mortal one. Shit. So much for that. I lift my head and turn away from Arkan, looking toward where I heard the voice. Who are you? What do you want? The hum buzzes by my left ear, but I hear whatever this is whispering into the right one. It feels as though a fly is buzzing in my left ear the whole time it speaks. I am beyond your ken, mortal. Worry not. I have not come to harm you. I am aware you will have questions, and when we meet again, I shall gladly answer them. Hang on. It's secretly the parents from... I imagine this character has a lot of sass. For now, I need you to heed my warning. Warning? It's not quite expected, but something tells me help is something I'm not exactly going to be swimming in. I decide to listen to the hum. Alright then, what do you have to tell me? I feel Arkan's arms slip away from me as I'm pulled away smoothly. Not content to be moved by unseen forces, I squirm about uncomfortably. What is it then? I don't suppose you'll be carrying me the rest of the way. Worry not, mortal. As stated previously, I have no reason to harm you. I cannot risk anyone else hearing what I have to say, slumbering or not. Your spark has been awakened, and you are visible to those who might want to use your power for terrible means. The hum comes from far above now, while its voice sounds out softly from behind me. Its voice sounds oddly familiar, yet entirely strange to me as well. Still, I don't want to lose Arkan, for fear of becoming lost myself. Be still, mortal one! And listen well. You must trust the one you return here with. Give him the chance to find his way, and should he need it, lend a guiding hand. Do you mean Arkan? I already know that. I'm going to his world to do that very thing. Also, what do you mean by my spark? The voice sounds much closer now, and the hum sounds out from the furthest reaches of space. Father, when can I leave to be on my own? As I stated previously, I shall answer your questions when next we meet. I am here to deliver a warning, and nothing more. Right. Interrupting isn't helping. Sorry. The voice continues. If one seeks the truest truths, one must experience them with no bias. We have an agenda, and hearing things from our side may inhibit your ability to make decisions. Oh. There's no time to elucidate further. If we tarry over long, the Acer will find us. Your fate, your present, and your future. I hear the humming grow to a buzz. I'm sent drifting toward Arkan. We have seen everything, and you will need the boon granted from the one who will come with you for whichever path you choose. This we believe to be your best chance, even should you side against us. I just hit my pop's filter. The ghost of Chris. Wait, what? I reach for my companion, and to my surprise, his arms take hold of my shoulders. He pulls me into his embrace once more, still sound asleep. Trust him! I feel my heart slow as lethargy overtakes me. My wariness waxes as swiftly as it wanted. Hiya. You just missed God. You know, so we met God. My wariness waxes as swiftly as it wanted. Slumber comes. I feel my face pressing against something cool and soft. Reaching my hand toward it, I realize what it is without even opening my eyes. I'm lying on my side with my head resting against a pillow. Arkin and I were drifting between worlds. I suppose we've made it to our destination. My eyes open to a sight beyond worlds. I like men. Anyways. A woga, titty booby peck chest. Even having just been floating through space cannot compare. Arkin lies facing me, the soft light from the floor-to-ceiling windows catching behind him, cascading over his frame. He's wearing nothing but his shorts, his cycling shorts barely hidden underneath. He's beautiful. I feel my heart flutter a bit and gasp gently. At the sound of my gasp, Arkin stirs and adjusts himself a bit, his eyes opening. Awooga! Hang on, let me just... After a few seconds, he looks over to me, his tail beginning to wag frivolously. He smiles. Good morning, Finn. I open my mouth to return the greeting, but stammer. Good morning, Arkin. Did you sleep well? His eyes are so striking. Seriously, has he always been this beautiful? It's still pretty early. I think we can nap for another hour or so if you want. Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm still pretty sleepy. Being awake for a bit there in the middle of our cross-world travel didn't help. Seriously, I don't know why. I don't know if anyone else had this issue, but like, when I first saw the CG, my eyes, they went from here to here to here to here, and then a little bit downward, but I'm not going to actually tell you what it was because, I don't feel like getting banned, but I think you get the idea. Arkin can hear about that later, though. For now, I should try to get some more sleep. I'll need it for the day to come. Arkin readjusts again and closes his eyes. I'll pull it up myself. Let me just... Here, I'm doing it right now. Just... we go. I just did it. Arkin readjusts again and closes his eyes. His face returns to a peaceful expression after a few moments, and I close my eyes and try to sleep again. Nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. Sugar. After I wake again, I look across from me and realize Arkin isn't still in bed. I hear some soft grunting coming from near my feet. Turning toward the foot of the bed slowly, I see a shadow with a wolf giantesque form moving up and down, backlit by the light from the floor-to-ceiling windows that run part of the room's length. The light isn't harsh, but it's enough to make my still sleepy eyes squint. After a few moments, my eyes adjust to see Arkin doing some squats facing away from me, looking out the window to the view beyond. But the view within is more than beautiful enough for me. I blush, feeling my... He's talking about his penis. I blush, feeling my tent being pitched as my eyes absorb the sculpted piece of living art that was now doing oblique crunches with steady rhythmic breathing. Why are you talking about your penis? Please stop talking about your penis. Before he turns to me, I try to stifle my erection. You're still talking about your penis. After panicking for a few moments, finally decide to turn my head away and close my eyes again. I reason that if he does happen to look at me, he'll just assume it was from a dream. Then, all too late, I remember his hearing. You know, you probably shouldn't try to go back to sleep again. My mom knows you're here now and she's dying to meet you. Also, I want to take you around my village before breakfast is finished. So go on and get up, sleepyhead. I slowly turn my head toward him and sigh in relief when I see he's still turned away from me. I'll be up in a moment. Human eyes don't adjust to light so easily. While it's true, I'm not actually struggling against the light anymore. Oh, right. Take your time. I do. I do. Oblivious to my predicament, Arkin is just stretching now. After my debilitation wears off, I sit up and stretch myself. I realize I'm still in my slacks and t-shirt. Probably should have brought a change of clothes. I shrug it off. Until I realize I don't have shoes. Arkin? Everything alright, Finn? He turns toward me. I point down at my feet, naked of socks or shoes, and wiggle my toes to emphasize my point. Arkin tilts his head, considering my meaning until it hits him. Oh! You don't have shoes! He chuckles and smacks his forehead. That was such a dumb oversight on my end. I wave it off. No, you don't typically bring human friends from another world back to yours. I don't think any of us thought about this specific thing. Well, luckily we are in my world. I can just make you some shoes. Excuse me. Does he mean there's like a cobbler or whatever nearby who can make a pair of shoes fast enough? I decide to ask. When you say you can make some shoes... With creation magic, yes! Oh, right. Magic is a thing. I keep forgetting. Okay, but, like, are we just going to use something to cover my feet and then cast a spell to make it look like shoes? Because I don't know if you remember this part, but I'm a finder. The glamour won't work on me. He chuckles and shakes his head. No, no. I said creation magic. Oh, right. I guess I selectively misheard that. Yeah. We stand there for a moment, both chuckling. Finn? Yeah? Do you want to know about creation magic? I blush. I sort of get the idea from the name. It sounds pretty on the nose. This time Arkin blushes. Oh, right. I guess it is pretty obvious. We stand awkwardly for a moment, both anxiously chuckling. Hey! Arkin? Yeah? I assume you want to use that creation magic now? Oh. Right, I'll get on that. Hiya. The two dumbasses. Okay. Right now, I cannot get this out of my head. I genuinely cannot get this out of my head. Which is, like... Which is the dynamic between the three of them. Between the four of them. So it's like, you have Geralt over here. He's like the goblin. He's like a little goblin. He's like... He's a little goblin, and he does little goblin things because he's a little goblin. He's like, hi, I am a goblin, and my name is Geralt. And then he, like, eats a child or something. He goes and eats a child because that child looked at Finn incorrectly. Arkin over here, Arkin and Finn, they are like... Arkin and Finn are like the two dumbasses. They accidentally like they accidentally like set a kitchen on fire or whatever, and they're like, oops. And Bjorn is the only responsible one, but he's fucking clueless. So like Arkin, Finn, and Bjorn are just standing in the kitchen. Arkin and Finn are just, like, completely clueless on what to do, and Bjorn is freaking the fuck out. And Geralt is in prison because he ate a child. I don't know.
Cannibalism is bad.
Guess. Stupid. Oh no. Like, I don't know if any of that is canon or if any of that would happen. I just think that it might happen based on the very little that I know of these characters. Oh, right. I'll get on that. Oh shit, wrong button. The goblin, the dumb of asses, and the guy who doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Define bad. Oh, right, I'll get on that. We both laugh as he kneels in front of me. I smile, even when things are awkward, he and I still manage to laugh. He's all like, ooh. PSA, do not eat people. Yes. Don't eat people. Because, like, actually, hang on. This is definitely going to put me on a watch list. Human... I did not get my Apple Music fixed. Yet. And by that I mean, I did call them, and they were all like, this was for Apple TV. And I'm just like, but I don't use Apple TV. Okay. Okay. Oh, I definitely just triggered an FBI agent's flag. Okay. So. On a nutritional level, hominins, those being humans, fall where expected in terms of calorie content when compared to fauna, animals.
FBI open up.
Animals of a similar body weight. The study's author, archaeologist James Cole of the University of Brighton, concluded. However, Cole went on, when you compare them to the large animals we know our ancestors also ate, the calorie returns of individuals and groups of hominins are significantly less than going after that big game. Which means, by that logic, human meat does not contain a lot of calories. So it just isn't that good for you. In a lot of cases, it just isn't a good idea to eat human meat. Plus, like, cannibalism, you have to, like, murder someone in order to get that, and don't commit murder. Murder's bad. Murder is bad. Do not commit murder. Twitch and YouTube, please don't ban me for this. I'm telling people to not eat other people and to not commit murder. Please don't ban me.
Be gay. Do crime.
Fair enough. Alright, I'll need you to focus and help me with this. This is something I can help with. He nods and looks up at me. His eyes are aglow, their usual jade now taking on a more emerald shimmer. You'll only need to focus on what it feels like to wear cozy socks. Socks? Right. Imagine a pair of socks that aren't too tight but fit snugly. Made out of fuzzy cotton. Focus on the sensory and less on the physical. Okay. I close my eyes. I try it. I imagine myself sitting down in a chair and putting on a pair of fuzzy, warm socks. As I focus on what I'm imagining, I feel a tickle around my feet. Is this some foot fetish thing? Is Arkin toying with me? Oh god! Oh god, I'm getting sidetracked again. Does Arkin have a foot fetish? And if Arkin does have a foot fetish, does he, like, try to excommunicate himself from society because of it? Does he feel like that he shouldn't be a part of society because he likes a toe with his morning cup of joe? I just referenced, like, someone from TikTok by saying toe with morning cup of joe. Yeah, like, we don't kink shame around these parts. We don't kink shame around here. Be into what you're into, just maybe not murder, because that's illegal. Please don't ban me. No, that's dumb. Focus! They almost took shape. Finn, focus. Oh, okay. I reset my mind's scene and imagine myself in my bedroom. I sit in the seat, I pick up a sock, I feel its soft texture. I lift my leg up and rest my ankle on the opposite thigh. I pull the sock over my foot, focusing on how it feels against my skin. I start to feel my actual foot tickle again. This time I just let it happen. Okay, I can see its form. I'll shape the sandals around it. Socks and sandals? Gross. You won't actually have socks on, Finn. This was just to get me as close a fit as I can. No. Zoophilia is illegal. It is a crime. And I just googled it. It is actually a sexual preference. An illegal sexual preference because it's that is one thing that I will not advocate for. Zoophilia. It's just fucked up. Oh, I see. Well, I don't see because my eyes are closed. But still, yeah, about that. You can open them now. I'm done. Already? I open my eyes and sure enough, one sandal made of dark brown leather is around my thankfully sockless foot, with another to match in Arkin's hand. I move my foot around, shaking it a bit to feel how snug the fit is. Wow, this is so cool! It fits perfectly, and it's actually kind of cute. Arkin looks at me expectantly. Well, do you like them? Oh, okay. I smile and point down to my foot. Arkin looks down to see my toes wiggling once again. I take it that's a yes then? I laugh and nod. Yes, Arkin, I like them! My eyes light up despite the casting being finished. Despite his casting being finished. His eyes light up despite his casting being finished. I smile at him and reach my hand out. He looks at it, puzzled, and slowly reaches his free hand out to it. Arkin. Finn? Could I have the other sandal, please? His face blooms red with blush, and, still kneeling, he stumbles back a bit. He lands with a thump on his backside. Oh my gosh! Arkin! I stand to help him. In that time, he rolls backwards and lands back upright, kneeling with one foot planted firmly on the ground, and one sandal for a foot still planted firmly in his hand. Are you okay? Oh, yeah. Nothing I couldn't handle. He coyly smiles and holds out the sandal. I take it and blush. It was a pretty impressive display, and he's no longer shirtless. Which reminds me, he was definitely still wearing clothes when he fell asleep. But when I woke up the first time, he was shirtless. Did he take the shirt off while I was asleep? I'm a pretty light sleeper. Did he use creation magic to do it somehow? I decided not to ask, since, honestly, it doesn't matter much anyway. He was definitely shirtless. The how of it all doesn't change that. I blush again. Arkin stares down at me quizzically. He ruffles my hair and walks over to his dresser. I watch curiously as he takes out a brush and starts to groom himself. I can't help but smile. So, what can I expect when meeting your mom? He seems to consider what to say and hesitates. She's welcoming and pretty warm to people in general. I'm trying to put the sandal on now as I listen. She tends to be very hospitable to my friends, my brother's friends too. She takes care of the older villagers and some of the sick people as well. She just likes to help people. Sounds like someone I know. Arkin turns toward me with a smile. Do you mean me? It's me, isn't it? I nod with a smile and stand up after fitting the second sandal on as snugly as the first. You care about people, and it shows through your actions, Arkin. His eyes catch mine for a moment. It's why I admire you so much already. I smile at him. His eyes widen for a second and he looks away with a blush. You make it easy to care about you, Finn. I'm not sure what to make of that, but I smile nonetheless. Arkin seems to have finished brushing. Well then, I'm excited to meet your family. You all set then? As ready as I can be. He smiles and reaches for the door handle, opening it and motioning me through. Chapter 8. Feeling. Wait, how many chapters are there? Oh, okay. Arkin and I head out the door leading outside. I get a look at the quaint little patio area just outside his room as he locks the door behind us. We're on a wooden deck raised a few feet off the ground, with 4 plants cornering us. Next to me, in between the 2 of the plants, rests a small 2-seat bench swing. Okay, good night. I don't think we did. Yeah, no, we didn't. Cute. Arkin finishes locking the door and moves past me, leading me down the stairs. Sorry, I know I said my family wanted to meet you, but I have to do some of my daily tasks first. If you help me, we can get them done faster! And besides, my mother will probably fuss over breakfast not being ready in time if we go now. That's okay. I'm sort of curious about the village you grew up in anyway. Arkin smiles and beckons for me to follow. Great! Our first stop is one of the wells. We're bringing fresh water to a few of the ailing. I like to speed through this, so I hope you don't mind a jog in the morning. I could probably use one of those. It's been a while. I'll try to keep up. Wolves are great runners. I don't doubt that applies to wolf giants as well. You'll be fine. You're pretty fit yourself. You do also have much longer legs than me, though. Arkin shrugs it off. We are not going to be jogging. We are going to be sprinting. And much nicer legs at that. You say something? No, let's get started. It'll be good to get some fresh air. And honestly, I'm very excited about seeing your world. Fresh but chilly air since I'm just wearing shorts and have a t-shirt. I didn't think about it till now. Shit, sorry about that. Stream disconnected. Yeah, sorry about that. Stream disconnected, and now we are reconnected. I love how honest and open he's become since the conversation we had the other day. I didn't know if I could trust him at first, but now I feel at ease around him all the time. Well, Finn, ready to go? Ready as I'll ever be. We head down the stairs and up the trail leading to the village proper. As we near the center of the village, I feel more and more of the excitement wane. The buildings are old, and a few are practically crumbling. Nobody is outside, although I can hear some scuttle that suggests people are up and about their day. Many homes have attached barns to suggest the villagers make do with livestock, the lack of which becomes quite apparent as we make our way further into the village center. The homes that have livestock seem to be working around disrepair, and there are no more than a few sheep, cows, and other animals between them. Coughing can be heard from within several of the homes. I wonder just how much Arkin's been keeping to himself. I remember Geralt bringing this up before, but still. Arkin. My jogging companion settles down to a power walk along ahead of me, with an almost nonplussed gait. Now resting his head back on a cradle made when made by locking his hands together behind his neck. He doesn't speak. As Arkin finally stops, I slow my pace and catch up to him. I expected to be more out of breath from the jog, but instead ended up out of words from the view. We stop just shy of what appears to be the central plaza, standing by an old, worn-down well. I need to get a few buckets from the houses a little further away. Would you mind filling the two here? I'll be right back, Finn. Yeah. No. I wouldn't mind at all. Arkin smiles softly and heads off up a trail. I turn back to the well. I see a few tin buckets next to it, as well as the handles for what appear to be the pulley system to raise the bucket that is already inside the well. The buckets are all mostly round but have a flat side. Time to hop to it then. I grip the handle and pull, but nothing happens. I try again. The pulley squeaks a bit but only moves a small bit. Maybe I'm missing something. These things probably have something to stop them from being fiddled with or misused. I look around the well and above the pulley system and find the length of rope held together by a large ring object. Yeah, that'll do it. After removing the ring, I begin to try again. I pull the rope and it gives. Nice! I raise the bucket inside the well a few times, pouring its contents into one of the empty buckets waiting on standby. After filling all of the buckets, I send the one attached to the rope back down to fill it and pour
Best
it
boy
back up
incoming.
once more. Hopefully we don't need it, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared. I hear footsteps behind me approach and stop a bit away. They are light and steady, as if the one thing approaching is trying to be sneaky. I turn around slowly, and nobody is there? I shrug and turn back. They'll show themselves when they want to. I feel my shirt being tugged from behind and turn back around. What the heck? I cover my mouth before I finish to swear. Don't want to curse in front of children, after all. He tugs my shirt and I crouch down to be at his level. Hi. And let me just... Hi. Hi. Are you human? I sure am, buddy. His eyes light up and his smile widens. Whoa! A real human? I nod and smile back. Yup. In the flesh. His excitement is palpable as he lightly swings his arms back and forth and steps from one foot to the other and back again along to some unheard rhythm. It's as though he's dancing in place. Humans are really rare in this part of the Ironwood. My brother Eric says they don't like the cold, so they stay near the Hati Manor where it's warmer. I can't say how right your brother is about being rare, but I can tell you he's definitely right about us humans in the cold. What's your name, little guy? I'm Rolf. I'm Rolf. Good to know ya. Did I say his name right? Like, how do I pronounce his name? Like, Rolf is how I feel like it is. Rolf. I'm Rolf. Good to know ya. Rolf. That's a cool name. Mine is Finn. He looks at all of the buckets of water and back to me. So, what are you doing at the well, Finn? Oh, I got thirsty. He and I both giggle together. No, but really, I just had a jog with a friend, and I'm waiting for him to come back. He asked me to do this for him. How about you? It's really early for a kid to be up. So, are you some kind of town guard? That's a neat sword you have there. He laughs and shakes his head. No, I'm an expedition general. Ah, yes. How could I have been so foolish? Rolf chuckles again and does a neat little pose with the sword. I'm gonna get real strong and save the villages! Rolf's excitement is palpable. I feel all of my own anxieties about being here slipping away. He smiles wide and does his little excited dance again. I'm playing with my friends! Rolf looks around and seems a little bit disappointed, but only for a second before he immediately perks up again. But I guess they were too scared to see you this time. Huh. Now I feel stupid. A small part of me has been worried that the first wolf giant I met here would be large and intimidating. It's an adorable kid instead, and its friends are intimidated by me? A human? For just existing? Oh, that's a shame. I'd have loved to meet them as well. You should probably go find them and brag that you weren't scared. That's what I'd do. Rolf laughs as I stand back up and then nods. Good idea. I'm gonna go find them now. Glad to meet you, Finn. Are all of them this friendly? Are all the wolf giants in this village this friendly? I chuckle and wave goodbye to him. Well, that was fun. I'll have to tell Arkin about it. I wait another few minutes for Arkin to come back. I only just start to worry when I see him jogging back toward me. Hey, sorry it took so long. He's carrying a few empty buckets with him. Oh, okay. I didn't mind, but I was starting to worry. He blushes and his eyes hold a small bit of sadness. You don't have to worry about me, Finn. It is appreciated, but not necessary. I don't really know how to respond. That doesn't seem like something Arkin would say. I hope he's doing alright. Right. Anyway, we need to replace the water in those, right? That's right. And the ones you filled will go to the house in the immediate area. I nod and start to lift the bucket inside the well. After we've dropped off the fresh water to the homes surrounding the well, Arkin and I are carrying buckets to the other homes further out. He's got 2 buckets in each hand, while I'm finding it difficult to carry 1 in each hand for too long. So, Arkin! We stop at a house and I hang one of my buckets on a hook by the door, facing the flat side in. Yes, Finn? I hesitate a moment before asking the next question, but push it out before Arkin gets worried. How, did this village end up this way? Exactly. If you don't mind my asking, I mean. Remember Geralt and Bjorn really... It's really not that bad, Finn. You really don't need to worry. There it goes again. The sad look. He's trying to hide it fast, but I notice it before he forces a smile. He's almost in denial about things being as bad as they seem. We stop at another house. I put my other bucket on another hook. Does he do this every day? Has that sadness been there this whole time? Was I just not looking closely enough? He's just walking and carrying his buckets. No, the villagers' buckets on his shoulders. More than that, he's carrying their future. Maybe he was never as dense as I thought. Ark. I stop us moving forward. He looks at me. Then his eyes hide from my gaze for a second. I'm here to talk about it whenever you're ready to. I pat his shoulder with my free hand, and then take one of the buckets out of each of his hands to help lighten the load. He looks at me and smiles. This one is genuine. We're going to leave off here tonight. You just yeeted a gay goldfish. Congratulations. Stay safe. Have a good night. And I will see you all tomorrow.